Morning. Okay. Well, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or good evening for most of you, I would imagine. It's 8 a.m. Central Standard Time here. But I'm Dr. Brooke D. Armon. I'm the Associate Director of International Student Services here at Southeast Missouri State University. One of the main things that I manage is our orientations and handle a lot of legal status things too. But joining me today is Miss Haley Leonard Niniger, and she is our international student counselor and also helps me a lot with orientations and helping students with transportation and other things. But she primarily handles programming and health insurance and lots of other, fun things for our students. I want to dive right in today. I'm going to talk first about orientation and I need to share my screen. So let me get that rolling. So, and okay. So hopefully you all can see this Word document in front of me. So when you were first admitted, you should have been receiving sort of an automated email from our admission staff that gave you your SE key information and how to activate that SE key. That SE key helps you access lots of things with the university. So your student portal, different accounts you may have, but the biggest thing is getting into that student portal so that you can then get into your SEMO.edu email account. And that is where so many offices and individuals on campus will email you various things. Is to that SEMO.edu email account, and that includes your important I-20 or DS 2019 legal document. It gets sent to your SEMO.edu email account because we are not legally allowed to share those government documents to personal email accounts. So make sure you are seeing those emails and activating those SE keys. But one thing, as soon as you're admitted, every Thursday, or sometimes whenever I just feel like it, but most Thursdays I send out what I call the greetings email because the subject line starts with greetings, important information from the International Office at Southeast Missouri State University. But this email was designed to let you know everything you need to know and something that you can hang on to in one place. Yes, we know it is a very long email, but it's meant to be saved so that you can constantly go back and refer to that email. Or you may ask us a question and we may say, please refer back to your greetings email, see the paragraph about transportation, and arrival, or orientation, things like that. But I do send this email to both your personal email that we have on your account and your SEMO.edu email account. But that's what I have pulled up in front of me. It's just the Word document version of this email. And I know a lot of our students, they copy and paste this into a Word document that they can just quickly access on their desktop or whatever they're using. And let me kind of scroll. Sorry, my Zoom window's right where I need to be scrolling, so I'm move that real quick. All right. But since today we are talking about orientations and travel, one thing here, very top of the screen, step-by-step instructions are found at the following website under I'm admitted, what next? This kind of plays into the orientation. This link, if it will let me. So this takes you to a page that kind of just gives you all kinds of information. So, you can, depending on what level, if you're undergraduate, graduate, or an intensive English program student, you can kind of click on this plus sign here. It gives you a lot more details and different steps that you can take once you're actually admitted. And this kind of gives you that direct path into the SEMO website. So different things like the link to the SEMO housing portal to sign up for housing and the meal plan. It's all directly there. So I think this is a very helpful page for our new students. It gives you, a lot of you, if you're undergraduate students, if you're not a U.S. transfer, if you don't have that math and English credit already, you'll need to take the math placement exam or the writing placement exam, and it gives you the direct links for that information and how to do those exams. Again, those are just placement exams. We want to make sure when we enroll you that we get you in the proper math and English level courses. So you're not having to take extra classes if you don't have to. Gives you the direct link to the arrival form and other things like this. Now, some of the dates on this page, I think for the most part, we've got them updated correct, Haley. Haven't we updated this page? I think yes. Haley is my website guru. So she helps me and finds things that need to be updated. But yeah, so you can kind of see everything on this page. Very, very helpful. I forgot to mention it even has the direct link to the SEVIS fee portal that you would need to pay your SEVIS fee prior to your visa appointment. And yeah.
I'll go ahead and post a link to it on
Yeah.
like chat for everybody
Yes, yes.
to access that.
Yes. And then English IEP, drop down everything IEP students need to do. A lot of it's just a repeat of what was in the undergraduate and the bachelor's, but just to help you as the individual, what program do you need to click on, what degree level. So a lot of students ask us, what do I need to do to get a visa? And so it's right here on this page and gives you the link and everything you need to know. And we have, well, the arrival dates, they do change a lot. So for each semester, so we don't quite have the dates there, but it tells you where to look for those. And then just information on travel, which we have way more of that in our online orientation. So yeah, and just you'll see lots of different things on this page. But for the sake of time, I'm going to go back to the greetings email. You'll see there in the greetings email, I've got the information about the SE key activation I was telling you about. Anyways, so orientation, we have a hybrid format orientation. So what that means is we have an online pre-completion or pre-arrival orientation that you'll complete before you ever arrive. In fact, I always say it is a great idea to do the online orientation before your visa interview because you will learn so much more about Southeast Missouri State University during the online orientation. And that way, if you get those more personal questions from the visa officer about why did you choose SEMO or what about this program at SEMO interested you, you know, they want to hear that you have invested time in getting to know this university. And so, really and truly, completing that online orientation before your visa interview helps you so much. But the other thing with the online orientation is you've got to complete that before we enroll you in classes. Now, and this is for undergraduate students and intensive English program class students, we do require completion of the online orientation before we enroll you in classes. Graduate students, it is highly recommended that you complete the online orientation, but we do not require you to complete the online orientation to enroll in your graduate level courses. You will work directly with your program coordinator to enroll in those classes, and your program coordinator's information is listed in your acceptance email or in letter, and also it's mentioned various times throughout in my greetings email here, and then the online orientation as well. But you'll work directly with them to enroll in classes. But so I'm going to go back to the online orientation in a little bit, but I do want to talk a little more about our face-to-face orientation while I've got the information right in front of me. But face-to-face orientation is mandatory for all students who receive a visa and who will be attending here in the fall. It will begin Thursday, August 20th at 9 a.m. That's at the International Village. You'll see there 1025 North Sprigg Street. A lot of our new students live in the Towers dormitory complex, and our office, the International Village, where the orientation will be, is just to the north of the Towers complex. So if you walk out to the street there on Sprigg Street, turn left, we're the next building down from Towers. So pretty easy to get to from Towers. A lot of other students live in campus apartments around there, very near to there, but we're basically right across the street from There's an Indian restaurant called Zia's that's real popular now. We're right across from there, right across sort of from a gas station, Rhodes gas station. But yeah, so that's where we'll be for orientation that Thursday, 9 o'clock to about 4 p.m. And then we'll be there a little bit on Friday morning from about 9:45 to about 11 a.m. because we've only got you for a little bit because on Friday, then we're going to take everybody to the new student convocation that is open, that is for all students, all new students, domestic students, international students. That's put on by the entire university, and it's just a great day of information and fun. We do have some other fun events for orientation planned that week. I just don't have those quite down yet. We're a little early into that, so we've got some dinners and some activities we're getting planned at the moment. But probably Wednesday at lunch, Wednesday at dinner, and Thursday at dinner, and things. We'll have some fun things to have for you and get you to know, help get you to know some people in the community. But that's the face-to-face orientation, and like I said, that is mandatory. We actually do have to take attendance at orientation before we can register and activate your CVIS records. I have to have a log that you have completed the face-to-face orientation with us. So, but before, so I'm going to jump back now to the online orientation. And if you scroll down, this is where it's important that you've already activated your SE key. If you've already activated your SE key, you should be able to click on this link right here. So this Canvas. So this takes us to, we use this program called Canvas for our online classes, but we also use it for new student orientation. So once you've already done your SE key, you should just be able to click on Go to Course, and it will take you into the online orientation. And I just want to kind of show you how to navigate this and what's important. So this is the home page. You know, you want to read this main welcome letter. It gives you more information about face-to-face orientation and other things you'll want to know. It's kind of long. I apologize, but again, we do this because we want to cut down the time that you're at the face-to-face orientation. So we expect students to spend about a week on the online orientation. Or some students are just go-getters and they complete the whole thing in one sitting, and that's amazing. But if you come over here to the left-hand column, I believe the most helpful way to navigate this is to click modules.
Hey, Brooke,
And then,
we
yes.
can't see the Canvas page, by the way, if you're trying to show that.
Wonder, hang on. Go to, let me switch over to, okay, go back. Now can you see it?
Hold on. Yes.
All righty. So let me back up real quick. So once again, this is the home page that you were on, that you would be on. It's got some information. But to go over here to this left-hand column and click modules. And then this gives you all of the different modules and the different types that they are. And so like I might tell a student, work through only the advising and enrollment module in one day, but you can see here we've got everything from legal status to late arrival details to our office and what we do at the International Village, technological support, everything. Paying for college, very important one. Tells you all about how to access your bill, how to pay your bill, how to, what are the costs and fees, different things about scholarships and things like that. Information about living on campus, how to book your housing, how to get your meal plan, more information about that. A little bit of information about living off campus, and resources there. And then these are some of the basic tools that the whole university has come together and put together for new college students. And so you can see the different types of lessons and activities there throughout. And so this is everywhere. So how to get your Red Hawks ID, different things. And we even have a whole different section for students going to be entering the intensive English program and everything they want to know. Our pre-education students, our pre-nursing students have their own module. our professional pilot students have their own module, because those programs have a little more, what's the word? There's some more in-depth details those students need to know prior to enrolling in those programs. So, but I want to come back up here. And so then this is how you kind of access these. So this kind of looks funny at the time, but so this is just a heading for this module. But if you come down to like one of these where you see like the little pieces of paper beside it, that's a page that you can click on. And you can see here all sorts of information. Your page may look a little different than mine. Mine is set up in teacher mode and instructor mode, while yours is student mode, so you won't see a lot of some of the little tools on this page. But as you can see here, we're giving you all the information about academic advising and enrollment and what to do from if you're a information for all students, information for our visiting and exchange students, our IEP students, our graduate students. Now, undergraduate students, I have you in bright red big letters because you have more steps you've got to do to get enrolled, and the big part of that being your math and writing placement exams. And so I get probably the number one question I get from undergraduate students is, how do I take my math and writing placement exams? And this is it. So on the academic advising and enrollment module, here it is, step-by-step instructions for what to do to take the math and writing placement exams. And once again, unless you were a U.S. transfer who transferred in math and English classes already, or let's see, so you'll need to take the math and writing placement exams. The writing exam you won't have to take if our admission staff determine that you attended a high school or a secondary school where English was the first mode of instruction, where English is the primary language. And so they put a little attribute in your record that tells me you do not have to take the writing placement exam. But for the most part, all of our students have to take the writing or the math placement exam. So make sure you are getting these exams done, even if you don't have a visa yet. It's just one more step you can have done and out of the way prior to having your visa. That way, when you do get your visa, you can enroll immediately. And that is one thing to say, we do not allow students to enroll until they have a visa. There's multiple reasons for that, but yeah. But make sure you are doing this here. Okay. For the sake of time, sorry, I'm running a little long, but this is I think one of our more important sessions to get everybody kind of getting the ball rolling on things. But I'm going to go back to modules. Actually, I want to go, well, no, I'll go here. So we have information about transportation and arrival in the greetings email, but I have more information here in the orientation. So let me get down to that module. Did I miss it? I don't think it's this far down. Hang on. Yeah, I missed it somewhere. One second. Okay, there we are. Sorry. So we do have links here. So our recommended arrival dates are Monday and Tuesday, August 17th and 18th. We call those recommended arrival days because those are days that we will provide transportation from either the St. Louis airport or the Cape Girardeau airport to the campus. Some students, they have a hard time finding, transportation from St. Louis airport, which is about a 2-hour drive to the campus. And so we will arrange that transportation for you. It does cost $75. We do charge that to your student account. If you choose that, that is a much cheaper option than most transportation options you're going to have from St. Louis. If you want us to pick you up from the Cape Girardeau airport, we will charge $25 to your student account. Again, another cheaper option. Yes, we do have Uber in town, but Uber is more expensive. Students do use Uber and Lyft to come from St. Louis, or they use the FlixBus. FlixBus, though, is a little tricky because it arrives at about 3 in the morning in Cape Girardeau, and it arrives in a location where there's not a lot of public transportation. It's hard for me to recommend the Flixbus unless you've got friends or family already here that can give you a ride at 3 in the morning. But if you are going to the St. Louis airport or the Cape Girardeau airport and you arrive on the 17th or 18th, we will pick you up from the airport and other students that are arriving on the same day. You may have noticed in the greetings email, we mentioned a large a large shuttle bus. Most likely, it won't be a large bus, charter bus. We will be in our little 12, 15 passenger van. But in Dr. Kevin or myself or Ms. Haley will be the actual drivers greeting you at the airport and picking you up. So yeah, but that's just it's a really nice service that we provide. I know if I were a student, I would prefer somebody from the university to come and pick me up, and that way that I know I'm getting to where I need to get. So, but we'll be sending more details about transportation once we get closer to that time period and once more students have submitted their arrival forms and we know what time their flights are arriving. We do have a certain time that we have to cut off because we are not allowed to move students into the dorm rooms after 10 p.m. That is a safety issue that our university has in place, and courtesy to the roommates you may have in the room. We just can't have students moving in at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So if you are flying into St. Louis, say on Sunday the 16th, and you arrive at 8 p.m., just stay in a hotel room that night in St. Louis or even there at baggage claim at the airport, whatever you prefer. And we'll get you the next day. And the same thing if you come in on Monday the 17th, but it's going to be after 7:30 p.m. We'll probably get you you'll get a hotel room or stay at the airport and we'll get you the next day and bring you in. If you are flying in on that Tuesday, the 18th, and you get in beyond a deadline that we could get you back here by 10 p.m., we won't be able to pick you up. So that's something to keep in mind when you're booking your transportation. If you are wanting us to pick you up, be very mindful of what time your plane is arriving in St. Louis because we do need to have time to get you at the airport and drive you to Cape Girardeau. So really and truly we need to leave the airport no later than 7:30 p.m. And that's pushing it. So really 7:15 is where we're more comfortable, but we try to really get everybody about 6 p.m. Make sure we have plenty of time to get you checked into the Towers dormitory complex and to get you to your off-campus housing if you are of age to live off campus. So yes, but on this, so I'm going to click here, but we do need every single student that receives a visa, we need you to click on this right here and you'll see more information about everything that I just said. It's all written here. I should say, the Cape Girardeau Airport has flights from both Chicago and Dallas. So make sure when you're checking that if you fly into Chicago, you can get a flight to Cape, or if you fly into Dallas, you can get a flight to Cape Girardeau. So think about that instead of flying all the way to St. Louis. But St. Louis is just is convenient. It just may cost a little more or cost you a little more time. But let's see. But the big thing, we do have other transportation resources for those students who are not arriving on the 17th or 18th. But I will tell you that students are the earliest date that they can move into their dorm with no charge is August 15th. If you need to move into your dorm earlier than August 15th, you will need to email the Office of Residence Life and speak to them about the possibility of early check-in. That can come with an additional fee each night that you're in. So that's something to think about. But I also wanted to show you on this page, we have different resources for other, so there's the Flixbus. St. Louis shuttle service is more of an independent that they'll pick you up in a taxi or a van type thing and it's usually just you and they'll drive you all the way to Cape Girardeau from St. Louis. I want to say it's about $250, but for some students that's okay because they like having the individual car. But But most of these here, these are going to be individual transport. It's not a public bus system or anything like that. You're literally being taxied to Cape Girardeau. But the Flixbus is really the only kind of public transportation. It's kind of like Greyhound bus. Unfortunately, we do not have a Greyhound bus stop in Cape Girardeau. The closest one is in Carbondale and Illinois, and that's about 45, 50 minutes away from us. So that's not very helpful. But going back up a little bit, every student who receives a visa is required to fill out the arrival form here, and that is regardless of what your travel plans will be. We want to know definitely that you're coming, when we can expect you. It's not going to show me the form because I've already filled out the form, but you'll see on this form if it asks you about, do you want to ride on the 17th or 18th from St. Louis to Cape Girardeau. You know, what time is your flight arriving? What's your flight number? So it's important to know all of those details when you are filling out this arrival form. Now, again, if you're a U.S. transfer or you're arriving early or you're already just in the U.S., we don't need to know those flight details, and you'll see those different options that we don't ask for that. But you'll see the other options that you would choose, like I'm already in the US or I'm arriving at this time, but I've chosen my other transportation. There's different, options on there. So, but this form gives us a lot of information that we need to know about you, and it also helps our Office of Residence Life know more about who to expect actually physically present in the dorms on what days. That helps with their staffing as well. And it helps us kind of know more about if we do have these little fun dinners that we're providing for you on that Tuesday or Wednesday. It helps us tell those organizers about how many students to expect at those dinners. So just a lot of things there, but you'll notice in the greetings email where I have mentioned about filling out their arrival form. So all right, I think I've hit on everything I wanted to hit on. Do we have any questions? Okay. Well, seeing none, I believe that Dr. Kevin works on getting these videos shared for all to see. But again, that greetings email is a super helpful email. But if you need to ask questions, the great email to email after you've been admitted is just DSO. That stands for Designated School Official, but DSO at SEMO, SEMO.edu. So DSO at SEMO. Yes, Haley's posted it there in the chat, but DSO at SEMO.edu. You can send any question you have and we will get it answered. Even if it may not be related to our department, we generally know who to direct that question to. So, yeah, so we're super excited for you and so glad you've been admitted. And we just absolutely can't wait to see you. And best wishes for those that don't have a visa yet. We've got our fingers crossed for you and sending up all the good vibes and good luck with those visa interviews. So, okay, well, have a good day. Thank you.